Hello and welcome to APTN National News on this Friday afternoon. I'm Sav Jonesa. Tomorrow marks 10 years since the discovery of Tina Fontaine's body in the Red River near downtown Winnipeg. The 15-year-old First Nations girl was in the care of Child and Family Services at the time of her murder. Fontaine was missing for more than a week before she was found in the water, wrapped in a duvet cover and weighted down with rocks. Her death remains an open case. The only man charged in her murder was later acquitted by jury due to insufficient evidence. Events commemorating her life have and continue to take place throughout this week. A memorial walk will be held tomorrow morning in Fontaine's home community of Saugeen Anishinaabe Nation, 120 kilometers northeast of Winnipeg, where Fontaine is laid to rest next to her father. And if you are affected by this story, supports are available 24/7 through the MMIWG2S support line. That number is 1-844-413-6649. It's been another challenging wildfire season, and it's currently underway across Turtle Island. In response to the growing concerns, Saskatchewan leaders are investing in 2 programs to prevent and manage wildfires over the next 5 years. As evacuations affect northern Saskatchewan communities, Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation and the Prince Albert Grand Council are calling for immediate help for those affected. Video journalist Rachel May has more.
It really upset me a little bit when they brought in firefighters into Canada from overseas, and we had thousands of our own firefighters on reserves across Canada ready to work. There's something wrong with that picture.
On Wednesday, Natural Resources Canada announced that Jonathan Wilkinson, Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, and Paul Merriman, Minister of Corrections, Policing and Public Safety for Saskatchewan, are making a joint investment of $44.7 million into 2 programs to manage and prevent future wildfires over the next 5 years. The Fighting and Managing Wildfires in a Changing Climate program covers 50% of specialized wildfire gear costs, while the Resilient Communities through Fire Smart program will boost neighborhood resilience and minimize impacts. Chief Peter Beattie of Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation says northern communities have been using the Fire Smart program for quite a while.
I know it's a cost-saving measure to let fires burn and then put in a few crews and say you're actioning the fire. You may be actioning it, but not properly.
The Prince Albert Grand Council Grand Chief Brian Hardlott says policies that prioritize money over land protection need to end.
With the provincial government, they said that they need to look at the budget also and put more resources into the fires because of the climate change, right? So again, I'll say again that let it burn policy must be abandoned.
When it comes to the current wildfire situation, Hardlott says he doesn't want to hear the words monitoring and managing anymore.
We want to hear that there's boots on the ground, or do you want can you get some firefighter? Can you get some type 3 firefighters from the community? Get them ready. That's what we want to hear. We want boots on the ground.
Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
It's been quite the season for wildfires across the country. Currently, there are 29 First Nations impacted by wildfires in Western Canada, according to Indigenous Services Canada's emergency management. Of those 29, 6 are in Manitoba and under an evacuation order, including Bunabonabee Cree Nation in northern Manitoba, where a full community evacuation started late Wednesday. Here's T.R. Wheatley with more.
Updates like this one on the community's radio station are constant, as plane after plane is loaded up with residents from Bunabonabee Cree Nation and are brought here to Winnipeg for their safety. The Canadian Armed Forces have 4 Hercules planes dedicated to evacuating over 2,500 people since yesterday afternoon when an out-of-control wildfire got too close. Myrtle Crane and her son Liam were among the first to arrive in the city.
86 people was on that flight, including kids, elders,
The fire, 5,700 hectares in size, was just 10 kilometers south of the First Nation, making it hard for many to breathe.
Really smoky, dark clouds, even everybody fainting back home.
People under evacuation from 6 First Nations are staying in hotels, mostly in Winnipeg. The Canadian Red Cross is providing evacuees with lodging, food, and items like diapers and formula for the children. Kerrigan Wienisk is grateful for the help they've received here in the city.
I see the Red Cross.
But Wienisk says she's worried for many who are still back home.
I'm scared for my grandpa. He was close to the fire. He lives across the lake by himself. He didn't want to come because he has 2 dogs.
So he stayed back?
Yeah, but they said everyone has to leave. Everyone has to evacuate. Nobody can stay.
The Manitoba government says there are currently 71 active wildfires in the province, with the one near Bonabonabee being the most active, as flights continue to bring residents south. T.R. Wheatley, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
A group of Indigenous development corporations from across the Northern Territories are slated to become the new owners of the North's biggest telecommunications provider, Northwestel. Earlier this summer, the group announced it would buy Northwestel from its current owner, Bell Media. But as Sarah Connors tells us, some are questioning the inner workings of the proposed transaction, and they're calling for more details to be made public. Here's that story.
It's what our daily life revolves around: streaming, internet, phone. But in Canada's north, one company has a monopoly: telecoms provider Northwestel. In June, 60 North Unity, a consortium of Indigenous development corporations from across the north, announced it planned to buy Northwestel from Bell Media for up to $1 billion. Besides a press release, there's little public information about the transaction.
There are very few financial details and no details of what's exactly being purchased.
John Lawford of the Public Interest Advocacy Centre, or PIAC, says that's a problem.
It's kind of not like selling the candy store on the corner. It's a big deal. It's essential infrastructure for everybody.
After the deal was announced, the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission, or CRTC, pinned a letter to Bell and Northwestel asking for more information. Under the Telecommunications Act, parties can designate certain information as confidential if they explain why its disclosure wouldn't be in the public interest. And that's exactly what Bell did, only filing an abridged answer for the public record.
They claim that it's going to cause BCE, or the owner of Northwestel, specific direct commercial harm. Exactly what that consists of, I don't know, because we can't see the way the deal is structured.
Bell's reluctance to share financial information about the deal hasn't gone unnoticed. Last month, PIAC submitted a request to the CRTC for Bell to hand over financial information about the sale.
Well, I think that people who are reliant on Northwestel as their only provider or their main provider of telecommunications services deserve to know the full deal so they can decide whether it's a good thing, and they should have some say in it.
Smaller scale telecoms providers also want details of the sale and have written letters in support of PIAC's request.
Bell is using that position to give a company valuation and selling price of $1 billion for all 3 territories that have less than 200,000 people in all 3 territories. Like, come on, that's a far stretch.
If in fact this is a deal that, upon closer scrutiny, is really going to benefit Bell more than anybody, and on what terms is it going to benefit Bell more than anybody, that needs to be looked at.
Northwestel deferred comment to Bell Media, which said in a statement to APTN, as this information is highly sensitive, including commercial strategies, network configuration and planning, and financial projections, the public release of this information would be damaging to all parties involved. And it is routine for parties in the CRTC to keep this type of information confidential. Last month, Bell refiled its abridged answer to the CRTC listing document names and headings, but a portion of the document remains redacted. Representatives for 60 North Unity did not respond to repeated requests for an interview. However, a spokesperson with the consortium shared a letter it sent to PAAC refuting its accusations, claiming this arm's-length commercial relationship with Bell is important in creating a stable revenue stream for Northwestel. It is not a special arrangement with Bell. And Northwestel has a strong history in the North, and we believe under Indigenous ownership we can enhance that legacy through targeted network, employment, and community initiatives and investments. Lawford says despite the lack of public information, the proposed deal has a lot of promise.
Hopeful it will be a good transition, but unless we get to ask questions, we can't make it the best deal possible.
The CRTC says it's working on PAC's request and will make a decision as soon as it can. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
Thanks for that, Sarah. We have a story coming up next that you're sure to dig, an archaeological dig that is. Stay tuned for after the break. Welcome back. A small but mighty community group is taking to the streets of Winnipeg to help those in need. Members of Ace of Spades activism draw from their lived experiences to connect with the people they serve. Reporter Sierra Bettins joined them on one of their walks.
How you doing, brother? Need a bottle of water?
I'll have one of those.
You take a Narcan? Okay, all right, there you go.
Equipped with one small shopping cart and 4 big hearts, One of Winnipeg's newest community groups is determined to make a difference. Late last year, the group's executive director, who goes by the name Cash, established Ace of Spades Activism to help those in need.
I've been doing by myself some outreach stuff, and come December, a bunch of friends wanted to get involved. So on the 23rd of December, we decided we'd go out, a couple friends, and it went good and just slowly started from there. Come this spring, we got a permanent team together, and these guys are just great. They've really helped us grow, and they made it into like what we are now.
Throughout the week, the team walks along Winnipeg's Main Street strip, handing out water, food, and overdose prevention supplies. Though they come from low-income backgrounds, they purchase most of the supplies themselves.
We give out food, water, clothes, things like that to homeless people, low-income people. We help them try to find homes. We help them try to find jobs. Also, we just show some emotional support if we can.
In under 20 minutes, crew member Tammy Spence handed out over 100 bags of popcorn. As someone who faced similar struggles, she says it warms her heart to give back.
Makes somebody smile. I talk to a lot of people. I feel like I'm going to cry, but a lot of women and men, just a hug and just speaking to them.
The team draws on their lived experiences to connect with the people they help.
We've all been through rough stages in our life, a lot of us been through addiction, some of us been through gangs, crime, and turned our lives around for the better, homelessness, yeah.
As they expand their efforts, the group hopes to open a homeless shelter one day. On August 31st, they're hosting a winter clothing drive to ensure the people they serve stay warm in the colder months.
Most of the supplies come from kind donors or us ourselves, right, putting it in. And we actually have a GoFundMe started right now to help us get the shelter started. And on the 31st of this month at the community garden on Selkirk next to Elizabeth Fry, we're doing a winter clothing drive to try and help homeless and low-income people. So hopefully that'll turn out good and we can help quite a few people with it.
Whether they're delivering a bottle of water, a Narcan kit, or a hug, the Ace of Spades crew is determined to meet the needs of those in need. They invite anyone interested to reach out.
If anybody wants to join in on the walks with us or anything, or donate supplies to our outreach, they could reach us on our Facebook. It's Ace of Spades Activism on Facebook.
Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
An archaeological dig in the Ottawa region has sparked interest with local residents. Lac Lamy Park has some of the largest pre-contact archaeological sites in the Ottawa River Basin. To mark Archaeology Month, the National Capital Commission opened up one site for the public to join in the dig. Here's Annette Francis with that story.
I found something right in the corner right here. It just doesn't look like a normal rock.
Lindsay Eamon and her two sons have taken the opportunity to participate in a public dig on the Ottawa River. Eamon says she's always loved archaeology. It's important.
I think the kids really need to learn about the local history and having this connection to the local Indigenous as well as the settler colonizer history as well. I think that is just a great opportunity. Most kids don't get to have that. And then with my passion for the archaeology part as well, they've really developed that over time as well.
It's between about 6,000 to 5,000 years old.
According to archaeologist Monica Micah, 14 days have been set aside over the month for the public to come and dig. It's become quite a hit.
You can see two different styles of stamps on the outside. If we look on the inside, then they would have taken a bone or a stick and carved out those X's and lines. And if we look really closely down here, we can see the fingerprint of the person who made it baked right into the clay.
The site that is open to the public is located in Gatineau, across the river from Parliament Hill.
So it's been ongoing for 10 years with a pause because of COVID. But really, the site was actually identified by an archaeologist who stopped for a smoke break and looked down at the ground and went, "Oh, that's a piece of pottery. That's a flake." So he was commissioned to do a survey of part of Lac Lamy Park and identified 14 Indigenous archaeological sites here in the park.
She says it's important work. They're hoping to find as many artifacts as possible before they disappear due to the eroding river. And what is found is not something that can just be dug up and taken home. It's cataloged and held by the National Capital Commission.
So just last Monday, a kid was digging in their pit and they came over and they're like, well, is this an artifact? And they had found a perfect arrowhead, quite small, and the style looks like it'll probably date it to 1,000 to 1,500 years ago. And they found that just digging away in the sand.
Jennifer Tanasco is from Kitiganzibi First Nation in Quebec. Tanasco is the supervisor of the Anishinaabe Ojibwakan Archaeology Field School.
It's important for the youth to come out here and to dig along the water, because from what we know, like our ancestors lived and occupied the space here at Kabeshnan, and so it's important to come out here and kind of be connected with the land and be present in archaeology.
Something Eamon and her sons are happy to experience.
Most people don't have this chance to actually take part and also help, because I know these sorts of things are a lot of work, so getting to get that hands-on is really cool.
Annette Francis, APTN National News, Gatineau, Quebec.
The First Nations Bank of Canada unveiled its newest branch in Maskwacis this week. CTV's Adele Ahmed has more on what it means to the Indigenous community.
A new beginning in Ermineskin Cree Nation, the First Nations Bank of Canada opening its latest branch in Maskwacis.
It makes you feel like definitely at home, and it's just comfortable, and it's just something that the Reds definitely needed for sure.
The grand opening marks the 20th branch in the country and the second in Alberta. The bank aims to serve the Indigenous community.
For a community that hasn't necessarily had that access for all of its community members before, that's really important.
A historic opening that the chief of Ermineskin Cree Nation believes is a positive step forward.
We can build and grow on our own to protect our own, to make sure that, each and every family is taken care of.
The unique part about this branch, all of the employees are Indigenous, something that gives members of the community a sense of comfort when doing business with the bank.
It gives younger people the role models to see Native people working in a financial institution.
I want to be a part of expanding and growing the business, growing the bank. I want to be a part of that, so I'm definitely going to open my own account here.
The bank aims to open more branches in the near future, hoping to serve more Indigenous people in the country.
We are a for-profit enterprise like the big banks, but we also have a social mandate, so we think that's very different than them.
Adel Ahmed, CTV News, Maskwacis.
We need to take one last break now, but we'll see you again in less than 3 minutes. It's 21 in St. John's and a sunny 26 in Charlottetown. 22 in rain in Cartwright and 12 in Kuujjuaq. Quebec City is rainy as well and 28. 24 in London and Peterborough. 24 in rain in Wawa, 25 in rain in Timmins. Puckatawagan's a nice sunny 22 and 24 in God's Lake. Winnipeg and Gimli will be 26, 25 in Brandon. 27 in Cloud and Regina, 25 in Yorkton. 18 in Stony Rapids and 24 in La Ronge. 21 in High Level and it's 18 in Fort McMurray. Lots of rain in Alberta, 22 in Edmonton and 28 in Medicine Hat. 22 in sun in Vancouver and Campbell River. 22 in Prince George and some rain and 23 in sun in Fort Nelson. Whitehorse is 24 and 21 in Mayo. Yellowknife is a sunny 18 and 22 in Wrigley. Sax Harbor is 14 and 24 in Tuktoyaktuk. For the Standing Buffalo Dakota Nation, keeping their elders in the community is important. That's why they're celebrating 25 years for the Lakeview Lodge Personal Care Home, allowing their knowledge keepers to pass on their experiences to the nation's next generation. CTV's Mick Favel has more.
Standing Buffalo Dakota Nation celebrating a special milestone. The Lakeview Lodge Personal Care Home has been taking care of the elders and those in need from the nation for 25 years. The facility is a central part of the community, homing their essential knowledge keepers.
As elders, they're our affirmation of our identity. They pass on that knowledge that we talk about to our younger people, even to us as leaders. So they're very critical in our traditional governance structure for all nations.
Located roughly 200 yards away from Echo Lake, the 40-bed care home was first established in 1999. When it opened, it was the first of its kind. First Nations owned and operated for First Nations people. Since then, it has seen hundreds of people come through its doors, helping all families from Standing Buffalo.
We've serviced over 60 First Nations in Saskatchewan and across Canada. So, we were able and fortunate to provide that care to them and be a home for them and in a way take them as our own family.
Going forward, Lakeview Lodge plans to continue serving the community and hope other nations pursue their own care homes in the future.
A facility like this would be very, very beneficial to every First Nation because you want to keep your people at home. You want them close to family, and because that helps them. So I would encourage all the First Nations, do what you can, keep your families at home.
Mick Favel, CTV News, Standing Buffalo Dakota Nation.
That's all the time we have for this afternoon's episode of APTN National News. I hope you enjoyed the stories our reporters brought to you today. If you're looking for more news, please visit our website at aptnnews.ca and check out our newscast later this evening. I'm Sav Jonesa, and from all of us here at APTN, thank you so much for joining us. Take care.